All right, all right, all right. I think we're live.
We're here.
Hunter?
Let's do it.
Oh. What did you give up for Lent?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Oh, so as you can see, we got the Guff Man here tonight, Matt McGuffey. He is our Guff blogman. You do a lot of the writing, but beyond that, your main gig is certainly the social media stuff.
I lend a hand wherever I can. It comes to social media, blog, catalog text, all that kind of stuff. And I love doing every minute of it, for sure.
Yeah, he's a great point guard, you know, for the company basketball team that we don't have. You know, he's single, likes long walks on the beach, and
Absolutely.
rod building. So
well, we got a ton of inbox messages about bringing on a hot blonde, and here I am.
there it is. So that's what you get. CRB Pro, hot blonde. There he is right there. So fantastic. All right, so with all of that out of the way, and feel free, you know, to ask personal questions on the show because he's new. Of course, we've got everybody in the war room tonight. Hopefully it'll be a big show. And, you know, we've got Steve on the Zoom and Jay, of course, on the ones and twos as always. So what are we going to talk about tonight? Give me a little rundown.
I think we're going to do some snakeskin. We're going to talk about where you can put it on the rod and the different diameters you're going to have to measure to do it and how you can make it look really clean and impress those customers.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to show a couple different kinds.
Absolutely.
As you said, we're going to measure it out. We're going to talk, what is it? Measure, cut, apply, finish.
That's exactly right.
That's what we're going to do. Now, you did steal Hunter's credit card, though, before he went on vacation.
Absolutely. Sticky fingers.
That's it, which is weird because I don't know how he's going to get very far in Jamaica, you know, on the rum runners without a credit card.
It's going to be tough. He's texted me a couple times, just haven't answered yet.
Right, just leave him on red. Perfect. So we have giveaways, of course.
As always, we got some great giveaways tonight. For the first giveaway, we're going to do snakeskin, a little color preserver to use with it.
Nice.
We got the second giveaway is going to be snakeskin, color preserver, and some thread.
Oh,
and
nice.
then our big giveaway.
Well, we always give away, got to give away a rod kit, right?
The big giveaway is coming a rod kit to you. It's an SJ842, a metallic multi-option kit. You're going to get some snakeskin, some color preserver with that too, and we're looking forward to seeing it. So whoever builds it, you better send it on to us.
No doubt. I mean, you've got, you know, you can't just take the giveaway, win it, and not, you know, and not show it off a little.
That's exactly right.
So you gotta make sure to throw that in there once you get it all built and everything. So we got giveaways. We did the new intro to the left-hand man here. Glad to have you.
Happy to be here.
You think, are we ready to do this? Is everybody ready? We're gonna run the intro, guys? I think it's about time. Let's get snakeskin going. Here we go.
Let's do it.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission.
All right, we're here. Snakeskin Inlays, episode 70. It's, I still can't believe that we're here.
70
You know,
episodes.
this far in. And you've been a part of a lot of them, let's
A
be
lot of
honest.
them, a lot
Just
of them.
behind the scenes.
You know, I got suckered into staying in early, had a good time, and now look at me.
That's it.
I think the funniest part is I made it all this way. It's actually water. You wouldn't believe it.
All right, we always get those questions, and in fact, it is water. Look at that. All right, so before we get going, we have to talk about the photo contest because it just recently ended. Those gift cards have gone out. We had, I mean, a lot of great entries, but of course, you know, the cream's got to kind of rise to the top, and you know, we don't get an easy task in here of picking those winners.
Never.
So we, of course, had third place. Joe comes in with the Nectar of the Cobs. That was my personal favorite. It was just absolutely fantastic. You know, because I am, you know, a born-again ice fisherman. So beer drinking, ice fisherman, we're all in. Joe, man, I had your back, dude. I loved it. So we appreciate that build. And then, of course, second place, who do we have?
Second place, we got Alicia with the Just Bob and CRB Ultralight. Incredible build, awesome theme. She took it from the handle all the way out, and we loved it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, JD, man. Wow. I think you blew everybody away. It was a tight race, but JD, that was impressive. No doubt.
I think the one thing I want to say about JD was we launched the photo contest, and day one, JD was in there.
Yeah,
with,
it was.
with that
It was just
rod.
like, just go ahead and set the bar.
That's
you know, it was
exactly
like,
it.
He
That's
was
exactly
hanging on
it.
to it. He was hanging on to it, and we were like, yeah, so we're going to do this. And he goes, boop.
Yep. Custom handles, bang.
Yeah, hit send. So it was fantastic. And of course, we couldn't do any of this without you guys. And that is always in the Mudhole Live Rod Builders Workshop. If you're not a part of that, you're missing out on 14,499 friends because we're somewhere around 14,500 people. Yep. It is the biggest, it is the best forum, community, everything all rolled into one as rod building on Facebook and probably anywhere, you know, in any galaxy far away.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where it's at. So now though, let's move on. We got to go to the next one. Tell us about the next one.
The next one we got coming up, this is a good one. It's going to be guide wraps. So we want to see what kind of color thread you're going to use, you know, pack them real tight, get some up close shots. Nice. And we look forward to seeing, you know, last one was some March Madness. This one's going to be some June Madness.
Love it.
And we're going to run it down to three finalists again, and we'll have you guys vote for it in the group. So make sure you join the group, and we'll see you there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Jay's got something for us, so I think we need to roll that, and that'll get everybody fired up for, like you said, the guide wraps. The guide wraps. Fantastic. I mean, that's got me fired up. We saw some great work in there from a lot of us here. Some of the builders that we have send us some stuff. It's good stuff.
I tell Chris every day he can't win, but he gets so excited about the photo contest every time.
I do. I love it. You know, I'm in here tinkering with it, and they're like, yeah, it's just, you know, it's one of those, like, you can't win the lottery if you work for, you know, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You're doing great, but DQ.
That's it, right out of the gate. All right, so y'all know the rules. We're a couple issues of this in now, but don't forget, it's hashtag build to win. Got to post those pictures in the Mudhole Live Rod Builders Workshop. You can run over there to Facebook. Again, we've got links. You know where to find it. And if you don't, come on. It's 2021, step up to the plate. So run over there after the show, kind of get your stuff laid out. Plenty of options from under wraps, over wraps, inlays, trim bands. Maybe you'll throw some snakeskin in there. We'll talk about that tonight. So again, run over to the Mudhole Live Rod Builders Workshop. Put it in there, and you've got all the way until when?
You got till June 28th. We want to see all your submissions by June 28th, and then we'll vote on the top 3.
Perfect. All right. And then, of course, you're winning 250, 150, and 100, I think?
I believe so.
I think that's what it was.
I believe it is.
Yeah. Sweet.
If not, next time, get a little extra.
Absolutely. All right, cool. So now it's time to get into this demo. All right. So first, though, we've done some homework for you guys already at home. Any of the products that I use on the show tonight, and we're talking snakeskin, we're talking the Pro Seal, we're talking finish, razor blades, tape, any of that stuff. The stuff we use on the show tonight, run over to mudhole.com/MHL for Mudhole Live. And that's an easy landing page. After the show, run over there, and then you can go, oh, okay, yeah, that's everything I need. You know, if you don't happen to win, but you can run over there after the show, start clicking, running it, throw it into your cart and start buying. So
Your one-stop shop for everything we use on the show. It's great.
yeah, absolutely. So we do it as easy as possible. All right, let's get into this. So I've got a couple rod stands here, and we are going to, I'm going to use this blank here, and I'm going to run you guys through the snakeskin deal. It's really not all that hard, so hopefully we won't keep you too late tonight, but we've got a couple different options here. Got it in the split grip. You can see I've already got finish on it. Of course, I added a little bit of trim band there, and before we even get that question, that trim band is the Pro Wrap Metallic. That is the 9510. You can use it in A or D. Everybody always asks, what's the closest green to the MHX? This is the one, 9510. So that's it, Pro Wrap Metallic. All right, I've got it here. I went ahead, put the Pro Seal on it, stuck it to the blank, added finish, but as always, we try to do things correctly, and I also like to show you guys sometimes what not to do. I will get to that in a little bit when I get the document camera out. There are some boo-boos in here. I had to kind of manipulate it a little bit to show an error so that you guys will know what can happen if you don't follow the steps. But we also have some different cooking show style out here, and we're going to walk through that on exactly how to put all this together. So we will take, now we went over this before. So we've got rattlesnake.
Absolutely.
We have cobra, right?
Cool.
And then we've also got sea snake, okay? There are, a couple different options. These are kind of skin-on tanned. They're very soft, very pliable. This isn't just, as some people will do it, where they pull the skin and just air dry it just like that. It's not. These are actually tan. There is, a little bit of leather to them. So for those that are asking that question at home, that's how these skins are. They are very, very durable. These are not brittle. They're soft, and they're very, very easy to work with. And the scales are actually very hard to get off. Maybe later I might show you a little trick of pulling a scale off to use it for something special, but these are actually very durable because they are somewhat tanned. So it's, it's one of those things like, some people might go, oh, I don't know, that might be white snake. But,
Here we go again. It's cobra. It's cobra.
Yeah, exactly. I'm more of a poison guy myself.
We actually got a good question right here. David Roth, does the snakeskin rip easily? We just touched on it a little bit, and
nice.
it doesn't. It's pretty solid. It'll hold up well, and you can really do a lot with it.
Absolutely. Fantastic. All right, so this is the easy way for me because I'm not a big math guy, hence I'm here in rod building. So, yeah, exactly. What we're going to do is we're going to choose the section of the blank that we want to apply the snakeskin to. I'm going to work in between these two pieces here just to kind of keep everything in frame here, and I'm not constantly jumping around. If you want to span long sections of a rod blank that tapers, you're going to want to put multiple pieces of tape because you're actually, and I think you guys have seen this before when we do it, we've used this with abalone. Anytime we're trying to find the circumference of a rod blank, this is an easy way to do it rather than getting the calipers out, finding the diameter, and then doing multiplication with pi. So, you could do pi d for that, but again, this is just so easy and it's very accurate.
Yeah, and you're going to meet that seam up the whole way.
Right.
You're really doing a good job of that.
And I'm glad you said that because I have a little bit of a cheat so that you don't worry about the seam as much. So we're gonna get to that for sure. So there's a couple different ways you can go about this. You can measure exactly, if we're in between split grips here, like down in this end, but if we wanted to measure exactly here, we would measure it and then we would take that measurement to the snakeskin. What we can also do for just, showing y'all at home, what I will do is I'm just going to take a couple pieces of tape and I'm going to just measure a section here. I'm not going to do it exactly in between so I can leave some space. So in a sense, what you're going to do is you're going to take a couple wraps of masking tape. Put one there, and we'll put one here like this. Okay? So if that is the length that you want, you've got it marked off. What I try to do is I'm going to pre-measure so that we're not just kind of winging it and holding the razor blade up and cutting it. So if we are going to measure, we'll take the measurement like this, and if we're going to go on centimeters, we'll go on 7. So you can actually, you can turn the snakeskin over at any time if you want to write on it, if you want to draw arrows on it, if you want to give yourself a road map. I tend to always run, so the scales, you can see that there is somewhat of a pattern. It looks like the scales are all facing up this direction. So I tend to like to have the scales upward facing away from the reel seat. So if I ever get in a bind and go, oh no, which piece of tape is on the top and which is on the bottom, I kind of always know because I use this snakeskin pattern as my own roadmap, if you will, without having to draw on it. But you can take a Sharpie, you can make your marks on it if you wish. So that's just one of those tips.
Yeah, I think we have a tip in the blog that you can do B and T, top and bottom, that kind of thing. If that works for you, absolutely do it.
The blog?
Yeah. Some people read, some people read.
Yeah, get out of here. All right, so that is one option. If you need to span, you know, something like 2, 3, 4, 10 inches on a blank, you're going to want to put multiple pieces out like that. If, let's say, you have a rod blank that has very little taper in it, and you're only going to run a very short piece like this, this is just, let's see what this came out to be. Sorry, Steve. Hang on. All right, so that piece came out to be about 1.5. That's really pretty short. And of course, it's just over 1 inch long there that will cover that taper. There's very little taper in that short of a section. And I will show you here, I've kind of got a little bit of a secret weapon down this one side. So you can see I have the tape at the bottom that I'll get to in a second. And then I have an edge that is not a straight cut. There's a straight cut on this side. And then there is actually a jagged cut on this side where I actually just go around the scales. And I'll show that in a second here. So if you've got a small piece like that, I would probably say you could get away with one piece of tape. If you're starting to span longer sections of the blank, you will get into the taper and you will want to use multiple pieces like this. So then what I'm going to do is if I'm going to select a piece here, I'm going to want to measure the blank, and then I'm going to take those pieces of tape to this snakeskin. Now there are sections of the snakeskin that do look different than others. There's one where you actually have more of a diamond pattern. There are sections up here where the scales get very small and you actually have barring. So of course you're also going to have these belly scales here on the outside where it's white. If you want to incorporate those belly scales into it, you can, or you can come down here and just use the patterning. So let me show you here real quick what one looks like. I'm actually going to get my document camera out. Yeah. I just look like I've done this before.
And he sticks the landing.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's get her in view here.
Oh, man.
Okay. Sweet. All right. Bear with me. We're focusing. All right, sweet. There we go. All right. So this is using the scales section without the belly, right? So you can see there's no belly in it, and this actually, the pattern here actually helps the seam disappear. There's actually a seam right here. It takes a little bit of work, but you can see when you use the diamond and it comes across here in the front and it comes back and it meets. So it kind of hides it there a little bit. So trust me, there is a seam there. I know you guys can see it. I'm not that good, but there is a seam there. So let me show you now how we're going to pick that section. I wanted you guys to get kind of that, get your mind wrapped around that section and what I'm talking about before I actually show you how to do it so I don't lose you. Because there is some trial and error built into all of this, because sometimes, you know, you hit your target the first time and then sometimes you're like, ooh, that's not quite what I wanted.
Well, just like other builds, though, it's nice to see a plan come together, you know?
Yeah, it really is. And then sometimes you just get lucky.
Absolutely.
You know? So we can measure, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mark on the top of this skin very, very lightly. And I mark on a dark scale where I'm going to be at. And it actually kind of blends in. So I've got it kind of where I've got it marked, and I'm just utilizing the diamond pattern in this. I just like the way that it looks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a fresh razor blade, because you do not want to cut into the blank here. So I've got my tape wrapped. Now we're going to come to the blank, and now we're going to make pretty much our guide that we will take the tape to the skin to get the circumference of it. So again, just be careful, and we're just going to lightly cut through this tape. It doesn't take much to cut masking tape, so don't go crazy on it, okay? We've got it cut, and then I actually just take the edge of the razor blade, and I'm going to pick it up. We're going to peel it right off.
That's a veteran move there.
God, you don't need to pump my tires that much out here, right? I love it. All right, so here's your circumference, right? You're going to take this piece of tape, and you're going to transfer this over to the snakeskin. Now, a quick trick here, rather than taking this and measuring the distance, I take this tape and I use multiple layers. So I go around it 2-3 times so that I'm not just holding one thin piece of tape. You know, because sometimes when you're working with something that's kind of thin and fragile, and then of course the tape's sticky, it can get away from you really quickly. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold this in half and just gently fold it, and you match the corners. Then you take it and you pinch it very, very hard, and it's going to put a crease in the tape. So now we have a crease in the tape, kind of thin and fragile. I have my mark where I'm going to use this at. And I'm just going to apply the crease right there. So now we know the length of that tape is where I'm going to be using the skin. So like all of this out here and all of this out here will not get used at all, right? So you're going to be just working in this area. And I'll do the same thing 7 centimeters down to the next piece of tape, and then that's going to give us our block. So I'm going to press this down. You can do this on the back of this as well. If you want to mark this, you can actually take and fold these skins over and mark them to mark the center. I've figured out, after kind of monkeying with this stuff over the past couple days and doing the show before for y'all, that this masking tape is not a high-tack tape. It's probably a little tackier than like the blue painter's tape, but this isn't a super tacky tape. So I'm not pulling any scales off when I do this. And the scales that are on this skin are attached very, very well. So I'm not worried about putting tape on the skin. It's just one of those that it's not going to pull any scales off in my experience. So
no scales off your back, you know?
Exactly. I'm glad you're here.
You know.
All right, so we're going to pull this piece off. We're going to do the same thing. So again, 2-3 wraps. We're going to fold it over. kind of gently so we don't crease it. Now we crease it. And we're going to take it down to our mark. Ooh, hang on. Don't press it too much. You get lined up.
Oh, you're all good. I'm going to take this second to answer a question.
Do it, bud.
Is it real snakeskin from Kansas Corkland? So we skipped step one. Step one, Chris didn't want me to do it.
Yeah.
Step one, you really got to take that snake out. So yeah, they're absolutely real snakeskin.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Got it marked. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use CRB ruler. We're going to cut straight edges on it. You can use very, very sharp scissors. Please use sharp scissors. You don't want to create any jagged edges on this because it will show. Or what you can do is just use a razor blade and a straight edge. That's what we're going to do. Sure. So always work with, buy the 100 pack of the CRB razor blades. Don't buy the 10 pack, buy the 100 pack.
You're going to use them.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut this out. And the scales will kind of give you somewhat of a guide. You can kind of look along there, cut you a nice straight edge there.
Mm-hmm. Now you want to do this on the nicest table you got, right?
Yeah, Grandma's antique one. If you've got it, that's all.
Don't tell her.
Yeah,
Don't tell her.
Just let her find it.
Let her find it.
Yeah, surprise.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even imagine. All right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Now we've got that. I'm actually going to show cutting these edges. I'm going to get the document camera over here. See if we can make this one work.
You seem to have a plan here.
Yeah, right? I can just feel it. Just snap this thing right off. Whoop. Cool. All right, we're going to zoom again. And we're locked. All right, so just so we can see this, I already did the same thing to cut. I use my little, so I cut here and I cut here. So because we measured it, that was the length that we were going to use, right? I shortened it up a little bit so that I could get it in between those other two pieces. And then now what we're going to do is we are going to line up tape edges. And you can see there's just a tiny little bit of taper in there. Okay, so we got that one. Just a tiny bit of taper, right? So now I'm going to show you my somewhat little bit of a trick. Instead of coming to right here and cutting it, right, I'm going to come over a scale. So you can see there's a scale here, there's a scale here, there's a scale there, right? So I'm going to come over just a little bit so that I get those scales into the cut. All right. So now that I have those scales into the cut, I'm going to turn it here so I can see them a little bit better. And I'm actually going to cut around these scales here. You can see I'm just kind of, and you can slide this razor blade a little under that scale. You can see that there. Do the same coming from this side. And again, it's pretty tough. You know, the skin is actually quite tough, so it's easily doable with a sharp razor blade, but it's not just going to fall apart in your hand. And I suggest doing this before you get all of the stuff all over it that we use for the Pro Seal. And this is just, you know, I'm sure I'll probably get chirped for this guff. You know, guys being like, oh, well, if you had a better straighter cut or if it was exactly matched up, you wouldn't have to worry about it. But, you know, just trying to show a little bit.
You know, everyone hides a seam their own way, right? Whether it's out of sight completely because it's on the bottom side of the rod or whether it's out of sight because you couldn't find it if you wanted to.
Yeah.
That's another question.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm trying to stay in the... Are we still in focus, Jay? Okay, good. I just want to be sure. Sometimes I'm like sliding it a little to cut and I don't want to...
Oh, you're doing great.
Yeah. Sorry if I'm breaking the fourth wall there, Guff, you know. I know you movie buffs.
Oh.
You'll be talking about me while having craft service, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we're good here.
Glass case of emotion.
That's exactly right. All right. So you can see there, we've got our kind of cheat, if you will. I did the same thing with this one earlier, as I mentioned. You can see, just let it hang over about one extra scale. That'll kind of help hide the seam, right? And as we had mentioned, I didn't mark the tape and I didn't mark this, but I know for me, this is the back towards the handle and this is going towards the tip of the rod going this direction because of the way the scales are facing. So that's just for me. You could easily mark this with a Sharpie or whatever, whether you do it on the front or the back. So, cool. All right. So let me get off of this camera here and we'll transfer this out to the rod blank. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
All right, cool. Get some of this high quality H2O.
That's right. Sponsored by tap water.
That's it. It's the distant cousin of smart water.
That's right.
Yeah.
We can't all be smart water.
No. All right, so we have the tape on here, which now can come off because everything's been measured. You can do kind of a little test fit to see how much you boogered it up if you didn't, you know. So I think we might be all right.
I'd bet on that one.
It's going to be close.
I'd bet on that
I
one.
think it's going to be close. Shouldn't have done it on live, right?
That's right. That's right.
All right, so we're going to pull it off. But the good news is it does stretch a little bit, especially when you get it coated in Pro Seal. It will stretch. I think that's a question, typically, right? I think they said it stretches just a little bit.
I'm going to guess it is a question. I think you just answered it.
Yeah, okay, cool.
But now you're predicting questions. You're that much of a pro.
Easy now. What I think we need to do, speaking of snakeskin, and I'm going to get the Pro Seal out.
Oh.
We need to do a giveaway.
You want to get one away? Let's...
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's
Get
do
that
that.
credit card out.
Oh, let's see. All right. Today's first prize, snakeskin and color preserver, is going to be Bill Leary Jr. from Facebook. Congratulations, Bill. Remember, we want to see this snakeskin in action, so.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Don't
know,
be hiding the game
Get
on us.
it, you put it to use. We don't want to see boots. If you put this snakeskin on some boots, we're not going to be able to share that. So
Right, exactly.
you're going to need to build a rod, and we'd love to see it.
Build to win. I don't know if we're going to do a boot section.
We can't do it. We can't do it. It's
That's
not going to be
it.
enough for your boots. We're going to tell you that right now.
Yeah,
Low tops. Chukkas. You could do chukkas maybe, but that's it.
maybe. All right. So we've got Pro Seal in here. You don't need a crazy amount of this. I just poured it out so that you could see it. That's really the only reason. I will just take this bottle and just dip it right in and go to it so that I don't waste really any of it.
Sure.
But just to show you guys, I put some out in there. And the good news is, it's easy to work with. It's non-toxic. It's, you know, water-based. So you can get it on your hands. You can get it on your wife's heirloom table. You can, you know, wherever.
Absolutely. Now, just for some people who would know, with like cork rings, when you're doing a handle, you would kind of just want that sheen. Is this something similar to that, or do you want a little more?
This one, you're going to want to be a little more liberal with it, if I may. So yeah, it's going to be something that the skin, because this is real snake skin and it does have a leather component to it because it is a tanned hide, it's got to soak in a little bit.
Sure.
So you know, just barely like dusting it is not going to work. We are going to want to put it on a little thicker than that.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to rush with this. The Pro Seal's not going to dry on you, and you know, there's not like it's not a 5 minute.
No.
You know, so don't worry about that. Now the good news is, under most temperature and humidity conditions, it doesn't take all that long to dry. So you can set it and come back to it fairly quickly, you know, and then you're locked. It's not something that you got to let it dry all night and all that stuff. So we're good there. How are we doing on questions, sir?
We're doing pretty well. We're answering a good amount through the progression here, but let's see if we can knock one out here. Jeremiah Gray wants to know what the thickness of the snakeskin is.
You had to hit me with that one, didn't you?
Well, you know.
There it is. Very, very scientific. I really don't know. I would venture to say that, I mean, it's going to vary, don't get me wrong, but it is the thickness of probably like a really nice vinyl sticker. Like a nice vinyl sticker.
Sure.
Not really like paper thin, but you know, because there is like a little bit of skin and scale and stuff like that, it's going to be good. Now, to transition that into Tyler's question.
Absolutely. Tyler Coffey.
Yeah. What about snakeskin or abalone cause any performance issues on a rod more flexible like a fly rod? I'm going to keep all of that into more of the butt section.
Absolutely.
If I'm doing abalone, a lot of thread work, snakeskin, I'm going to keep it down in the butt section. You're not going to put a 7-inch section of abalone or snakeskin up like the second section from the bottom, from the top. I'm sorry.
Sure.
So yeah, I would keep everything down near the handle, but you can absolutely use the snakeskin or abalone down in that section. The only thing is you got to be careful about, you know, the diameter. Because I remember, I think on the show last time, it's been a couple years, somebody asked about an ice rod.
Absolutely.
Completely okay to do it on an ice rod, but the diameter is so small. It'd be like this. You'd have like 2 scales, a front and a back, and that's it. You know,
Yeah.
if I was going to do that, I would do something like a decorative handle. I would take a carbon tube and put snakeskin on the handle.
Absolutely.
Or over some cork, not over EVA. EVA can be too squishy, and then you try to put, you know, handle and stuff like that. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that goes into John's question there.
I was just going to say the same thing.
What
John
about doing
Wolf-
it on the handle?
Yeah, John Wolf asked about doing it on a handle or putting it over a cork. I also saw that someone asked, Terry asked, will snakeskin glue to cork? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty good too. If you take your time and do it well, it'll look really sharp.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. And then you would just do it like anything else. You'd put some finish over it and use the Pro Seal, because the Pro Seal, not only does it help seal it, it also has a little bit of an adhesive to it.
Yeah, I think one thing I always think about too with, like, let's say it's a 4-piece fly rod, you're going to spine those top 3 sections. You're not really going to flex that handle section much, or at least you shouldn't be able to flex it much. And that's kind of the same thing when it goes to decorating it too. So like he was saying, you keep it down to the handle because you know it's a safe bet and it's going to look really good too.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we'll get this document camera back over here.
Yep.
I think everybody likes this thing.
Absolutely.
All right. Let me zoom out a little bit here. I didn't think, I think sometimes it like gets my feet.
Get my feet.
Yeah, right? Well, you got those new Vans on.
New shoes today. New shoes today.
Here we go.
Ooh.
All right, now we're locked. Okay, so we've got the snakeskin here. We've got color preserver on the back here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pick where we want to lay down the print, okay? So the print, I want it to be more in the center, and I'm going to just tack it here in the center. Because now you can see it, it's pretty, you know, pliable, I guess you would say, right? We okay on the zoom there, Jay? We locked in? Cool. So I'm just going to lightly work this around. And you can maneuver this around pretty good. All right.
And kind of in your experience with air bubbles and avoiding them, does the light pressing it down, versus in a hurry, you would rather take the steps to do it right, nice and slow, right?
Yeah, and I'm kind of like, I'm working with the scales, more just because if I went this way, I would catch a scale and it wouldn't slide. So I have a little bit of color preserver on my hand and it kind of helps it slide it. So I'm just working it around, and that way I'm not like tugging on it too much. And then now.
Nothing quick or drastic, nice and slow, methodical, pressing it down, pushing the air out.
And then you can start to see there's a little bit of color preserver that kind of works its way out. And then I'm just kind of massaging that back down there. And you can see pretty close to nailing right here on this X. You can see where the light and the dark ones kind of come together there. So, and I'm just going to kind of keep working the color preserver in to it, because it's just going to help kind of lock it all down. And then you can see when we come around here to the other side, you've got a really nice clean pattern there. And then you come under here. And one of the things that I did is, let me get this ruler. See if you can see this. So this ruler is the line under my reel seat. Okay, so that's the seam on my reel seat. And I know it might be a little hard to see because I did a pretty good job. But the seam is actually over here a little. And here's the scales where I cut them. So the seam is actually offset a little bit. And for me to talk about that just for a second, we'll come up off this document camera just so I can kind of explain it. So, Guff, when you think about a clock, right? And you being the fly fisherman that you are,
Sure.
12 o'clock at the top, 6 o'clock at the bottom, you got 9, you got 3. Right?
You don't want that 6 o'clock fish call.
No, you don't. So we're working with a clock here, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9, 3. So, and this is not something that I came up with. So I cannot take credit on this. I learned it from, watching a couple of these other guys that are incredible at this stuff.
You had me going.
Whether it's, yeah, right? I could have just led you down that path and just, yeah. So we're talking whether it's abalone, whether it's a vinyl decal, something like that. If somebody hands you that rod, you're going to go, oh, wow, that looks great. But of course, you're a rod builder. So you're going to go, I'm going to see what this seam looks like. Now you go right to 6 o'clock because everybody hides a seam at 6.
Absolutely.
You turn it to 6 and you go, I don't see a seam because maybe you worked it over to like 4:30. So now you go right to 6 and then the seam it's a little back down this way a little bit.
Sure.
So now you don't see a seam at 6. You don't see one at 12. Now you really got to hunt for it, and then now you're just that guy.
And then you have time to grab it back from him and say,
yeah, you're like, oh, that's pretty cool, huh?
Not too bad, huh?
And then you do one of these. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, you whip it back and forth.
Actions, that's it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Flex on the ground.
So that's just one of those things that I've been lucky enough to pick up from some of the guys that are just over the top good.
Oh, yeah.
So I try to pass that information on to y'all. So back here on the document cam here, real quick, I'll show you. We're just looking at that seam that's kind of offset, and then we want to make sure, because you can actually get up under that just a little bit, we do not want the seam to cause a problem, because I made it cause a problem, and I'll show you what happens when it causes a problem. The good news is Pro Seal dries clear, so we definitely want to be sure that we go around the edges. And in all reality, you're probably going to be putting trim bands on the edge of this stuff. You know, we made a nice clean cut, so it's got a really nice straight edge. It's not jagged. You can run your trim bands right up to it. And of course, I'm going to kind of work this in somewhat, just applying a little bit of pressure. And also, my hand will kind of also manipulate those scales down a little while, you know, it's almost like running a bead of caulk on a bathtub. It kind of helps clean it up a little bit, and it helps remove some of the excess.
I'm going to knock a question out real quick because I like this question a lot.
Okay.
I think he knows that I do social media. So Ryan from YouTube wants to know, he did a 24-inch tiger after the tiger video. Now he wants to know if you should do a 24-inch snakeskin on the next rod.
You know what? I couldn't be more excited.
Let's see it.
Show us what you got.
Ryan.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
The challenge is on the table, Ryan. Now it's in your court.
That's it.
The snake's in your jungle. And we want to see it.
No doubt. I think we're going to have to use that somewhere else.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I write all the words.
Yeah. He writes all the lyrics.
If you cooled up with the show, you fell for it. You're here now.
That's it. You've been waiting all week for that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was running by Chris, slither on over, coil up. I like coil up because it makes you forced to sit here and watch it, and that's what we want.
No doubt. All right, so there we have it. That is kind of, sort of, how you go about that. The next move is going to be finish. Let me kind of clean this up here on the edge because I don't want to get in the finish. The question always comes up, are you going to put multiple coats? Yeah. Go ahead and start mixing for me there.
Yes, sir.
Got your Pro Coat ready to rock. All right, so the question always comes up, how many coats of Pro Coat? On this kind of deal, the last thing you want is for this finish to get up underneath these seams. I would love to say that I purposely did all of this. I tried to not get this piece of snakeskin sealed as well as I could in hopes that it would booger it up, and it did. So let me show you what can happen when, I'm going to have to move this camera a little bit, sir. Actually, I'm going to just do this. So if you can see, this is how you can get an air leak, and it honestly just looks like somebody spit on it. I don't really know, Guff, what else to say but that. It just looks like somebody hawked a loogie.
I'll be honest with you. You did fine. I just came in here that night and just...
You got me, didn't you?
I let her drip one on. I dripped one on there. I thought it would be funny.
Good Lord. I knew it. I was like, man, what happened?
I thought in the long run it'll help.
That's it. So this is what happens because this seam right here didn't get sealed enough, and I actually just picked at this seam to see, oh hey, maybe did it get glued down enough? And I must have kind of disrupted the seal right there. So that's what can happen. So you get just a migration of air out underneath this snakeskin. And that is just, you can see there, see it raised up. And it's a teaching moment. Mm-hmm. So I hope you guys can understand that. But that's what happens. You can mess it up pretty good if you don't let it. Otherwise, it looks pretty good. And this is also the trim bands there, that 9510 is what we were using. So blocked it in there. Use it with the MHX grips, but at least I guess, Guff, the good news is this is on the underside.
That's right.
I could technically cut this out with a razor blade. Just going to see how, now that we've got it, how bad I can mess this up now on live. But we could probably get in here and cut this out. Yeah, I could probably do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save that for the big finish show.
I was going to say.
So that'll be a good one.
Big
so
finish,
yeah,
repair.
you can shave that right off.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me shift back out here to the different snake skins that I have, and I'm going to show you kind of what I did, how we adjusted with the materials that we used, and kind of what it looks like. All right, so we're going to work our way from kind of tip to butt, I guess you could say. All right, somebody asked earlier, I don't remember the name of it, but the reel seat to rod blank, the transition, this piece right here is probably my favorite winding check in the whole bunch. It's this TWC right here. It fits in front of any of the Fuji seats. It fits in front of any of the CRB seats. It's just a tapered winding cone, so TWC 16, because they make it in a 17 and they make it in a 16. This is a 16 body seat, so there you have it there. And then what I did is I just ran the snakeskin right to it. So this snakeskin here, let me see if I can adjust it to catch some light. You see there's a shine on it. See, there's kind of like a little bit of the light's catching it. There's multiple coats of color preserver on this, and it has a very smooth, kind of shiny feel to it. That kind of gives you the indication that, all right, this is ready, it's prepped to put finish on it. If this one still felt like snakeskin a little too much, I would probably put another coat of Pro Seal on it. Now, the other option is moving out here to the end. The other option, and this is not one option that you want to use in the house. Steve, I'll let you work the zoom on this one. This is permagloss. So permagloss is a really great product. It is just something that is very, not only is it flammable, but it says the vapors are harmful. And boy, they're not kidding. So it, luckily we got a big room in here. We got some good ventilation. Otherwise, I do not recommend using something like this, huddled in, a small room the size of a portalette, because you will be on the moon. Rod building on the moon.
That rod's going to turn out wild. Let's
yeah,
be honest.
absolutely.
That rod's not going to be what you want.
No. So let me slide in here. So we've got, what I just showed you is this one here is the first one. This has color preserver on it, okay? This next one, this is the one we just did with the offset seam. See if I can get that seam. You can just see it right there. I kind of got it on the edge. There's the offset seam, right? That's drying. Now, before I let this go and dry completely, even though it's tacked pretty well, I actually take tape. Some guys go on top of it like this, sticky side up. I actually take it, sticky side down. I actually take it and do sticky side up. Yes, and I go with the seam. So the seam is coming this direction to me, and I'm wrapping this direction to me as well. And then that way, even though, as I had mentioned, you don't get any kind of, the tape really doesn't pull these scales up. This is more for those at home that, granted, I don't think anybody's going to use duct tape to do this. Please don't. I don't recommend doing that. But if that's all you got, I guess that's what you use. But please don't do that. So as a precaution, just take the tape, and I'm just kind of pulling it over the top, adding a little bit of pressure there, and it works out. And you can see right there, you can see some bubbles coming out here. Right there, there's some bubbles coming out. And that's just me applying the pressure properly and then I take and leave a little tag end like that, and I fold it over. So then we can just pull it off in a minute. So we'll pull that off in a minute just to get it out of the way, but that's what I do. I use the sticky side up, and it does a great job.
I was gonna say it takes air out, and then also I can't spit on that if I wanted to.
Right, exactly. It protects it from you and
let's say
everybody else.
Absolutely.
You know, rod building saboteurs. All right, so moving out a little farther. So this is the same snake skin that I just did here, trying to match up the pattern. This has color preserver on it. Not as much. I didn't completely coat this, so we're going to put finish on it in a minute. And then this one out here, you can see has a little bit higher shine to it. This one has permagloss on it. So, and I'm showing you this here because this is kind of what happens when you don't offset a seam or you don't hide it. So now you have a scale here, a scale here, a scale here, a scale here, and you just got a line through it. And it's just kind of like, I feel like I'm better than that.
Sure.
You know, and from what we see from the group, so many y'all are as well. So really, if you would have just possibly continued this piece a little bit longer and then added a little bit of a cut, just so that you're not cutting a piece in half and then work your way in and out, kind of create a little bit of a jagged edge.
Sure.
You probably would have been okay.
Absolutely.
So the good news about this is permagloss, this guy right here, using this, I use that instead of Pro Seal. The reason that I did that is this is just a 1-part humidity, air cured. Again, please be careful when working with it, but it's non-yellowing. You can put an ultra thin coat on it. It seals it very, very well. And this has some specific uses if you don't want extra epoxy buildup. If you want to use very, very thin, if you're going to maybe match a decal up to this or something like that where you don't want high relief. So coming off of epoxy down to the blank, now you've got different heights of things. If you want to seal it off with the permagloss and then butt some thread up to it after the fact, you're not dealing with big gaps and humps and things like that. But then now you have to come back and to completely level it out. How many coats are you going to have to put? Probably 4 or 5 coats. With the permagloss, it's super thin.
Right away.
So yeah, that's an option. All right, so you got us some finish, ready to rock. All right, let me pull this off just to get it out of the way.
Yeah, I think while we do that, maybe we'll do the second place giveaway.
That's a great idea.
I feel like I've got some free time. All right, for the second place prize, we got snakeskin, color preserver, and 18 spool thread pack.
That is a great thread pack, by the way.
And digital calipers.
Sweet.
Pi times the diameter. Digital calipers are great. Second place prize is going to go to Jeff Johnson out of YouTube. Jeff, congratulations. You're going to send me an email to claim your prize, and it's going to be mmcguffee at mudhole.com. mcguffee@mudhole.com. That's my direct email. Don't abuse it.
Perfect. You'll have like people trying to buy
A ton.
your used car, all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we've got some finish here. I don't put the finish on immediately. Just as we've talked about with putting it over a decal.
Absolutely.
I try not to put what I call, you guys, I don't know if it's the right term or not, but I try not to put hot finish over something. Nobody likes hot finish.
Hot finish. No, you don't want that.
So what we're going to do, we're going to throw it in the old wire chuck here.
Yeah.
You doing okay?
Oh, we're doing great.
Yeah, you got some people down, didn't you?
We got a quick warning from the producer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah.
This is good.
Something about the hot finish doesn't mix with the HDMI, as they say. We'll see. I don't know.
I was going to say.
That's on you. No pressure.
Have some faith.
Yeah.
Because he sees it right there underneath it. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. Perfect. All right. Let's get this thing fired up and let's get some finish on this cable. All right. We got it down. Got the wire chuck. I'm a big wire chuck guy. Big fan. Got brushes everywhere. All right. Now, again, we cut the brush. You can see a nice little straight edge there on the brush. Not hot finish. You can see it's going to go on just really smooth because it almost has like a polished kind of effect on it because of the color preserver.
And while you're talking about that, Chris Tebow said, will any glue work to hold it to the blank?
Tim Tebow?
Yeah, yeah. His brother.
Yeah. All right. Oh, and of course, you know me. I like it spinning at me. You don't have to use the Pro Seal. I do because it's just one less thing I got to buy because I've got the Pro Seal already for doing all other kinds of things. But you can, if you're really gutsy, you could use contact cement. But remember, it's stick it and it's stuck. So you got a problem if you need to manipulate a little bit. Using that contact cement like we do with EVA,
Now, I don't want to out you.
you better be full
but
confidence.
I feel like I've seen you take a few pieces of snakeskin off the blank.
I have.
And that was because you used Pro Seal,
Exactly.
that you were able to do that.
That's a great point.
So it's all about your confidence.
Yep. And, you know, because, like you said, if you've got to move it around a little bit, or if it's got to come off, I would use Pro Seal or something similar. There's a couple different products like Tight Bond has a couple different things, but what I wouldn't do is use something that's like, you know, super glue.
Sure.
I wouldn't do anything like that because if it's got to come off, it's got to come off. All right, so this is just a very thin coat. Just a very thin coat, but you can kind of, it's catching the light really nicely. I like a thin coat on top of the snakeskin because we're going to do multiples here, so it levels out very nicely. Also, a very thin coat of Pro Coat will help seal everything even better. The snakeskin thing, it just takes some baby steps. You can't really rush it. It doesn't take all that long, but there's just some baby steps in this thing. So, yep. Now, go ahead.
I was going to answer a question real quick, easy one.
Please do.
Low-hanging fruit, Manny Martinez, is the snakeskin available in the catalog? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Perfect. What else we got? Anything else?
Let's see.
Oh, we already got the what type of glue. We can get rid of him.
Oh, yeah. Nailed it.
What's the average length of a snake wrap? You know, here at Mudhole, we sell it by the inch. I don't know what the longest section is that we have, but down in the warehouse, there's a couple hammers down there.
Oh,
like I'm like, whoo, that snake must have been, whoa.
Right out the Everglades.
Exactly. So the great part about that is you can buy it in any increments and just call one of the customer service folks downstairs. We got guys, girls, everybody, great customer service, willing to help. If you have a very unique length that you gotta have, that maybe you might think, ooh, that's kind of long. I don't know if they're gonna have that.
Maybe 24 inches.
Right. Give them a shout and say, I'm gonna do this. I really gotta impress everybody on the Mudhole Live Rod Builders Workshop. I've already owned up to a 24-inch snakeskin wrap. I'd be calling Mudhole. Don't worry, somebody will go in the back and go, oh, we got the perfect one for you.
That's right.
All 20, we'll probably even, if you buy 24, maybe even throw in an extra inch there just because we like you. I don't know, because you gotta have a little bit of wiggle room, right?
Absolutely.
So you better buy 25.
I would go
Better
ahead.
buy 25 inches.
Yeah, I would do 20.
So anyway, all right, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna move on. I'm going to see, and of course, you know, we always do this stuff live, so sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. I'm gonna try, since this is maybe still a little wet, I'm gonna try and get this to mess up because I'm just that guy. I'll just do some work and then mess it up because it's probably been what, maybe 10 minutes?
5-10 minutes.
5-10 minutes since I did
5-10
this?
minutes. 5-10 minutes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we're going to put some finish over this.
Now Chris will never mess up on purpose, but for you guys, you're lucky.
I'll do it.
You know,
Do it to it.
That's the exclusive.
I'm going to see if it'll, so that you guys can see what happens so you don't mess up all your work. And one really good way to see if the color preserver is not ready is the color preserver is white, as you've seen it. If you've got a little too much on your seam, it's okay, but you're just going to have to let it dry longer. So that's just something to be aware of.
Now, if it doesn't mess up, are you that good?
No, absolutely not. I'm gonna go ahead and drip some epoxy on this HDMI cord.
Yeah, real quick, real quick.
Yeah, exactly. Jay, are we good to go ahead and drip it on there?
Yeah. As long as we get
We're
the
doing
shot.
like, oh, what is that?
Yeah.
Coming in from the booth?
He says as long as we get it recorded, it's okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna add a little heat to this and see if we can't. Yeah, I feel like I've never been around cameras before.
Now you can't put the flame to the camera either?
Yeah, right?
Oh.
How am I supposed to work under these
All these
conditions?
rules.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to let that spin. And hopefully we'll come back and it'll be all kinds of boogered up. All right. So the good news is if we moved out to the snakeskin that has the Pro Seal on it, I'm sorry, the permagloss on it, you can take and put Pro Coat over the top of cured permagloss. I haven't had an issue with it, so you can go right over the top of it. So if you just need thin coats like that, or if you need to come back and you need to add some more to it, that's going to be, just fine. So I'm trying to see if we're getting any air in here yet. You can see it's kind of trapped. Let me see. It's sort of, let me see if I can zoom this in. We're coming right into your living room here, folks.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so you can see it's not dried right there, so it's kind of milky. That's the Pro Coat that's not dried yet. So that's a good indication that you didn't let it go long enough. I think you can see that in there. It actually looks okay. So in here, there's your seam. It will get kind of milky looking on you. And that's a good indication of you just didn't let it dry long enough. So,
real quick, I'm going to knock another question out.
Yeah.
Actually, let's knock out 2 questions. David asked from YouTube, could you put a decal on top of the snakeskin?
oh yeah. Now, you can do it in 2 instances. Mm-hmm. If you're afraid that it's going to build up too much, do the permagloss or a very thin coat. Now just remember, the snakeskin has texture to it. So you're going to have to get a perfectly level
Base.
yes.
Yeah.
So if you're using something like the rattlesnake that we had, you can see, let's see if I can get that in there. See, you can see the scales in that skin. You can actually make them stand up, right? Mm-hmm. So they have a very, high relief up off the skin. If you're doing something like the sea snake, the sea snake is very flat. You can see it there. It's just very, very flat. So there's really not much to it at all. It's probably even a little bit thinner. This is something that you could put a very thin coat of finish on and let it rip. Absolutely. So that might be a great option if you're really trying to do some decals and whatnot.
I have one more question here. Cody Creel, my man from YouTube, we talk all the time. Miss you, can't talk to you this time in the comments, but here I am. Would you believe it? He said, can you use snakeskin as an under wrap on guides?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and it looks pretty sharp.
It really does.
Take your time, follow the steps that we're talking about here, and it'll look good. It'll reward you. It'll reward you, big time.
Yeah, no doubt. And that would be the same instance where, you would put some Pro Seal over the top of it, let it dry, And then you don't have to put finish on it if you don't want to.
Sure.
You could come right on top of that where it's already sealed with Pro Seal, then wrap your guide wraps right on top of it, and then just finish it all in one fell swoop if you don't want to do that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, perfect. All right, cool. This one is still, it's starting to lift a little bit because it wasn't dried on the edges, but it's not going crazy yet. The other one the other one was like spinning maybe 30 minutes before it really started freaking out. So, but it's already kind of messed up because of it in here. It's,
you can see it.
there's your, see I can kind of move it around. You have, your Pro Seal is not going to cure once you got finish over it. So it's going to be left kind of milky. So don't do that, folks, at all. All right, that's it. And you're good to go. So now I do want to share something that I did. So we've got, I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to leave the document camera there, and this is just going to ruin itself, so that'll be fine.
Real quick from YouTube, are you using alcohol to clean that up in reference to Pro Seal?
Yeah, you can.
You can.
That regular alcohol will clean any of that just fine. Like you can take some water and clean Pro Seal up with because it's not, a solvent base. But, I've got rubbing alcohol. I just kind of use it for everything.
Oh yeah.
So
You got a cabinet, I've seen it.
yeah, no doubt. All right. So this is something that I did while I was messing around. And Guff, you're a fly guy.
Sure am. Thanks to you.
I'm going to throw this document camera over here so we can get a look here. So what we've got is we've got an MHX native, and we're using a single scale on each ferrule as an alignment dot. So some of the guys use decals, some people use like an ink spot, some people do that. Now, the ferrule wrap on the male side of the ferrule down here is not required. The reason that I did that is just so that I would have a base for the alignment dot, which is the scale. You could, and that's kind of why I matched the thread to the blank somewhat. Now, you could have not done thread here and just stuck the scale to the blank because it would stick just fine. You really don't need to put that there. I'm still using Pro Seal. I'm still, this is probably the first time, and I can't tell you how long, that I actually put color preserver on top of thread. That's just not my thing.
Yeah, that's not your thing.
I just don't like it. So this here, though, it's fine. It's kind of a decorative thing. It's not going to, have any ill effects on the wrapping, of course, because of the Pro Seal. It's great to use. So I did one coat, and then what I did is I took one of the pieces, one of these pieces right here that I was already using, and I chose a darker scale like that as opposed to a lighter scale. Now, if we were using something like maybe instead of this color in the native 8-weight, they also, as you know, they come in satin black.
Satin black.
So
sharp.
It's really good. And of course it comes in a 6-piece as well. So you would maybe use a lighter scale, right? So what I did is I actually took, and it's very hard just to pluck one of those scales off without tearing the skin and then creating kind of like a hangnail look to it. So I actually took and I wrapped this, and I just came up under the scale and I just kind of shaved it off like this.
If you're keeping track, that's a fresh razor blade. So that's 2 razor blades.
Yep. 2 out of 100.
2 out of 100. Get the 100 back.
So, and now we just can pluck that right off of there. And there's your scale. So, not too bad. You just kind of flex that skin over something to get those scales to stand out, shave it off with a fresh razor blade, and then you're just going to stick it with your Pro Seal. So that's kind of an extra little tidbit
That's the leading edge of rod building right there.
The leading edge, the pinnacle.
You're getting it straight from here.
Yeah. All right. So we've got a couple more questions. Now,
Yeah.
I didn't want to throw, you know, the, what do we call it? The lightning round? Or
The
heat
lightning round. Ooh.
Did we do that? Is it the lightning round?
It was
I can't
some-
remember. It was one of those,
It was a fast round.
yeah, it was a fast round. So anyway, I'm not going to throw that with you. But we will answer a couple more questions here.
How about
So,
slow pitch round?
yeah, maybe like Rookie of the Year
Yeah.
with the floater.
Yeah.
Nice. So we've got Nicholas coming out of YouTube. What kind of skin is that in the split grip? The one that I had before, this one here. This one is the Cobra. So that would be this guy,
The old white snake.
Poison. Def Leppard, right? So that's what we're using there. It does darken just a little bit, not too much. And of course, every snake skin does have a little bit different pattern to it. So that's very unique. And you know what? I'm going to show. We actually didn't show this earlier, but I wanted to show this.
Yeah.
So this is one of those Pat Van Zandt rods. Just an absolute. You want to talk about leading edge rod building? He has
don't mess
done
around.
some incredible stuff, and I'm going to show you here real quick on the document camera because it's worth talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So let me back this out a little bit so we can see. All right. So this is one of those really, really cool, what you can do with the snakeskin. Actually, I'm going to show you in the fighting butt section first. Okay. So here we are in the fighting butt section. He's got some custom cork down here in the butt. We just did that on the show. So now we're incorporating some snakeskin here, and you roll it over, and you start to get some of those belly scales, right? So of course, you know, the snake being somewhat round, that is these scales that are out here. These are these long kind of belly scales, right? So you can incorporate that in, or depending on if you don't want to, like I didn't want to. So I chose a different section of the snakeskin so I didn't have to do that, and I just wanted all these plate scales. Now, he really went over the top up here, and this is the part I wanted to show you. So when you choose from the snakeskin, you know, you have some sections that are this wide, and then you've got some sections that are this wide. So it's very, very, you know, there's a taper to all these snakeskins most of the time. So you've got your plate scales here, but what he did was when he measured it, and now you turn it on the underside, now you've got the belly scales that almost look like it's the perfect, where they come together exactly. And he showed the seam, and I actually think that's pretty cool because he showed the seam where the belly scales come together. So you got plates and then you got bellies all in the kind of one deal there. So this is the top of the rod. So you can see there's the top of the reel seat with those scales. Of course, he's using a little cone here with some trim bands, and then there's the belly on the underside of the rod there. So I thought that was really, really neat.
Very sharp work.
So, and then of course, your trim bands as you see fit, whatever you want to do there.
Sharp.
So yeah, absolutely.
Got a question out of YouTube. Jeremiah Gray is actually citing a question from William. Impressive. What is the expected life of the skin on the rod? Longer than the snake.
Longer than the snake, absolutely. Now, the good news is, once it's under that finish, you're good to go. Whether you're using Permagloss or you're using Pro Coat or you're using Threadmaster, any of that stuff, it's good to go. Once it's sealed under that finish, it's the life of the rod, for sure.
Good deal.
No doubt. So don't worry about that. David, is there any finishing coat that isn't as shiny? He's going to hit me with this one.
I was going to say.
You know, David, there is. There is a one-part matte. I think it's a one-part finish, matte finish.
It is.
I don't love it. I'm sorry, man. I got to shoot you straight there, David. I just don't love it. You maybe you could, you know, do something where you take one of the finishes and you let it cure for, you know, a long time. Maybe instead of just your 8 to 10 hours, maybe let it cure a couple days, and then hit it with some steel wool. Maybe it'll take some sheen off of it. I haven't messed with it. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't done it. and I also I don't love the matte finish stuff. I just don't.
I'd say a lot of the rod building stuff is experimenting, and there's nothing wrong with experimenting on your own as well. That's a lot of what we're doing in here, what he's doing in here. If you can't find Chris, he's in here tinkering with something, guarantee it.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to try it, I'd give it a shot. It's not expensive.
Right.
So maybe you've got an application where it'll work great. I don't love it, but you know, that's just, I think we owe it to you to, you know, I try to give my 2 cents.
Absolutely.
You know, when it's worth it.
But hey, if you try it, keep us posted.
Yeah, please
We'd like to
let us
see
know.
it. We'd like to know. Let us know.
And don't test it on like a brand new build.
Yeah, definitely.
I would use it on a broke rod,
Yep.
maybe on a dowel rod, something like that.
One more question from Alvin. Will the tape pull the scales off? If you use masking tape, no. We recommend using masking tape. If you use anything stronger, we can't say, but we wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, and now when we say that it won't pull the scales up, we're talking about these snakeskin pieces that we have here that are tanned, that are kind of that leather backed. If you just take the skin, air dry it, and you don't do it like this, the scales will come off. If it's just like, you know, if you find like the snakeskin out in the wild where it's like shed, those scales will come off. These are not. So we've used it here. They're not. So yeah.
I will say, if you're looking to tan your own snakeskin, there's a guy in our own Rod Builders Workshop that can help you out. Jimmy Kramer has been sharing a lot of videos and tips with us.
Cool.
We don't kill him in the house and tan him, but he does. So if you have any questions, definitely look for him in the workshop and join the workshop to ask him.
I'm still wanting to go down to the Everglades and get one of those invasive pythons.
Talk about 24 inches.
I mean, you got
Easy.
plenty.
Easy.
Plenty. You could
Easy.
you could do one of those like 13-foot surf rod blanks, tip to butt.
Whole thing.
The whole thing. So
If you wanted to.
right. Yes, David. Don't cut the snakeskin scales on the kitchen table. You don't need to do that.
That's right.
Dan, when's Hunter gonna reveal why the Binford? I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that to Hunter, Dan. Come on, man.
Yeah.
We all know.
That's a
We
Hunter
all know.
question.
It's good. It's
Yeah.
good. You know, we actually had somebody come in here today and go, huh, that looks familiar. We go, I don't know what you're talking about. Exactly. What would you use to condition the skin as you use it to help it last longer? Leo, to be honest with you, we don't store this any fancy way. We don't condition it. We don't have like a special snakeskin humidor down in the warehouse. You know, we're not keeping it like out in the snow or out in like on the hood of our trucks. I would, you know, kind of err on the side of not going crazy in extreme temperatures, but this stuff lasts great in air-conditioned warehouse. I mean, the other warehouse didn't have AC in it in some parts of it, and it was fine. So there's really no conditioning or anything to this type that we do. Again, I have seen guys working with it when it's not like a tanned one, and, you know, they have to like, you know, put water on it or like, you know, do some stuff to it. This one you don't have to do anything to. So just use your Pro Seal, cut it, stick it, and you're ready.
Yeah, and you pretty much hit John Wolf's question. What has to be done to the snakeskin in order to be prepared to put on a handle?
Yeah.
Basically the same thing. You would size it, you would cut it, you would do your Pro Seal, and you're on your way.
Absolutely. Add your Pro Coat and you're ready to rock. So somebody asked, what about the fish skin? I think if it's prepped properly, I don't see why you couldn't do it. You know, if you're just using the skin, I'm not a taxidermist, and I don't know how to tan stuff, and I don't know how to do that. But yeah, I'm sure you can do it, and it would be pretty cool because like you mentioned, pike or perch or something like that. I mean, shoot, we caught that northern up there when we were on the ice.
On the ice.
And he had some incredible coloring.
Oh, wow.
Didn't you catch a perch while you were up there?
I did.
I think it was a yellow perch, right?
Good crappie too, yep.
Yeah, so they've got some great patterns.
Oh, yeah.
As long as you cut it and clean it and do what you need to do, I don't see why, you know.
I think it would work out great, and not only that, I also think you should hit us back and see,
let
us know how it turns out.
Yes.
We'd love to see it.
Circle back, right?
Yeah,
Show us some pictures.
We appreciate you watching the replay.
Perfect. All right, so that takes care of the questions.
Yeah.
It's before 8 o'clock. Now it's time for the big giveaway. Thankfully, it's, you know, end of the month. We paid off Hunter's credit card, so let's get the big one. Now we're talking an MHX SJ842 metallic multi-option kit.
That's a great rod.
So there's a number of different colors in there. You've got, in addition to the rod kit, multi-option kit, you're also going to get snakeskin and color preserver. So you can go wild with this.
Absolutely.
You know, that winner is coming out of YouTube, and it's Levi Shum. Levi, we've seen you in there.
I was gonna say I've talked to Levi plenty.
That's it.
Great winner.
So
great pick.
congratulations.
I like that.
I'm glad you came through. You made it. You're here, the grand prize winner for the night, an MHX SJ842 metallic multi-option kit with snakeskin and color preserver. It's awesome. It's very, very good. So we appreciate all the winners. Levi's in there helping out, asking questions. We love that. Of course, Jeff Johnson took care of the second place prize coming out of YouTube. And then, of course, Bill Leary Jr. coming out of Facebook. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
So, I love giving stuff away.
Oh, of course. How could you not?
How could you
It's
not?
the best part. Christmas all year. Let's see. For the winners, make sure you either DM Facebook, send us a direct message, and we can take care of you. Make sure you claim your prize. We'll get your email and address and all that to get it to you. For YouTube, if you want to just send me an email, my email is mmcguffee@mudhole.com. That is mmcguffee@mudhole.com. And I will be happy to take care of you.
2 E's on McGuffey, right?
2 E's, 2 F's, 2 E's.
If you use a Y, he gets mad.
Ain't gonna work.
Don't ask me how
Ain't
I
gonna
know.
work.
So, awesome. Well, and speaking of McGuffey, you did a great job, man.
Thanks.
This was awesome.
They made it easy on me. I didn't get too many personal questions, nothing crazy.
I didn't throw too much at you, did
No,
I?
you didn't. You did a good job.
I will say, though, Guffey's been test driving the new CRB Pro step stool. He's done a good job tonight. We got him where he needed to be on camera. So he did a great job, and you know, that's R&D for you right there. It's metallic blue, 10-inch stool. It's fantastic. So, all right, guys, guys and girls, rod builders everywhere, we cannot thank you enough for joining my left-hand man, Matt McGuffey, and I for the show tonight for Snakeskin.
70.
Right, 70.
Halfway to 140.
That's it. Again, thanks to all the winners. Congratulations. We love giving stuff away. We appreciate y'all watching. Now, hit them with the photo contest again.
I was going to say, we got more winners coming in June, the end of June. Look for the photo contest, #BuildToWin. It's going to be guide wraps. And we want to see colors. We want to see all the patterns you're dreaming up. And we want to see you pack them tight and do a good job, too. So send them in by June 28th.
Okay.
And we'll vote on them, and we'll do another round.
Sweet. And that's in the Mud Hole Live.
The Mud Hole Live Rod Builders Workshop.
14,000 plus.
We're sledding.
I'm telling you.
We're sledding. And honestly, all the members do such a good job. We appreciate everyone offering tips, sharing their builds. It's such a good community and very positive, which we really appreciate.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it.
Absolutely.
You know, we're not in there really having to police it.
No, not
Everybody
too much.
does a great job of kind of, the camaraderie in there is great. You know, people are helping each other out. They're supporting each other, answering questions, showing a little rod building swag, which we love. We love. Everybody loves that, and of course, everybody's great and supportive, and that is why it's 14,000 strong for sure. So it's really y'all's group. So we appreciate it for sure.
And growing. Now remember, all products from the show tonight, every single one, you need, and they're at mudhole.com/MHL. So visit that URL, get stocked up, and we want to see your snakeskin. So make sure you share it and tag us on social media. We appreciate it.
No doubt. And of course, we cannot leave until we talk about the Mud Blog. So
The Mud Blog.
We have a blog on snakeskin among tens of thousands of other topics, right?
I can't tell you how many words I've put into blogs here.
But it's good.
All of them.
It's
almost
really good.
all of the words.
We're talking pictures.
in the world.
Yes. Talking pictures. We're talking links.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking step by step. It's got it all.
We got GIFs now, which is like an image, but it's kind of like a video, but it's kind of like
Yeah.
It's incredible stuff.
It's called Guff's Gifts.
That's right. Yeah, that's
And
right.
it's in the mud blog. So
You can buy 'em.
He does a heck of a job. So you know what? Rather than just always playing on social media, do a little bit of reading.
Yeah.
You know, he puts a lot of work into it, and it is
for
good
you.
stuff. So
It's good for you. Tips, tricks, all the stuff you're looking for in between the shows, in between the group.
Yes.
Check out the blog.
absolutely. Well, it's 8:01, so we probably ought to get up for Mom's lasagna. To everybody again, thank you for watching. Congratulations to the winners. We got the photo contest coming soon. The new one is out, so make sure you hit that. To everybody that helped tonight, I think we had some customer support team.
We did.
I think we have Sean and Jake, maybe, in the war room.
I want to say we had Sean, Jake, we had some new employees. Stuart is in there.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
got-
You guys will meet Stuart at some point.
Absolutely. The
The
team's growing.
wholesalers and distributors will meet him for sure. We had Brooke in the building. Tom was here. We had, of course, Taylor,
Of course, too.
who I hope he did okay without you.
I know. Normally we hold hands and answer comments together. and
You guys are a
today,
1-2 punch.
Can't
It's
happen,
like
you know?
shake and bake.
Shake and bake.
So,
Absolutely.
yes, for everybody in the war room, of course, and Steve, I think you did a great job on the Zoom. I think everything was great. And, of course, Jay on the 1s and 2s, showing some video stuff tonight. It was fantastic. Great first show.
I was going to say, I feel good.
Here he is, my
not
left-hand
gonna
man
lie.
for tonight,
feel
subbing in
okay.
for Hunter, Matt McGuffey. Guys, I'm Chris Adams. Thank you again for watching Mudhole Live. Let us know what you want to see next time. We'll see you in 3 weeks.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great one.